Okay, cool, everybody. Welcome back. We've decided to call this the BOYSIE Banter, and today I'm catching up with Pita. Welcome, bro.
Kia ora, kia ora.
Thank you so much for sitting down and talking to me. This is one of my first times, and I know you've just said that it's one of your first times to do this too, so I'm a little bit excited, bro. Yeah, so, man, what's been going on? What have you been up to today?
Well, today, when you messaged through this morning, I pretty much was still in bed. So, just having a lazy, because it's a holiday here in NZ, so thought we'd just have a bit of a lazy day and sleeping and watching some cooking shows. And then you messaged, so I thought, fuck, okay, better get up and have a shower. And so, yeah, that's what I've been doing today, bro.
No, you need those.
So nothing.
You need those days, especially on like a long weekend. You're like, don't feel guilty. Like, this is what it's for. Oh man, yeah. It's I guess I've made it a long weekend today, not working.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty lucky myself. Just the same, bro. I've been in bed as well and just feeds a dome. So pretty happy, bro. But yeah, man. So I just kind of wanted to kind of have a bit of chat with you, bro, and catch up and learn a little bit about your story, I guess, because we've kind of been talking a little bit over Instagram, which is cool, and I love it how you can connect there. And bro, I don't know, do you want to start by telling us a little bit about yourself, like for someone who doesn't know?
Yep. Okay. Cool. Oh, kia ora, everyone. So I hail from the north of New Zealand, a place called Te Tokido. Born in Tauranga, which is in the Bay of Plenty, or the east kind of coast of the North Island of NZ. Lived there till I was about 5, then moved to a place called Whangarei, and then pretty much lived there till I was about 29, so from the age of 5 to 29. Did all my schooling and everything in a great town called Whangarei, little beachside town, good place to grow up, but it was just time to kind of, I guess, move on from there. But after school, I did do a bit of I tried to do the old OE thing, stint in Europe. Had a plan to go for a year. Then while I was over there, I cut it down to 6 months, but then only lasted 3 months. So I ended up coming back. That was in 2001, I think. So I finished high school 2000, and then 2001 went over to Europe. Tried to do the whole UE thing, OE thing. And yeah, like I said, lasted 3 months, but kind of met a girl before going, and then yeah, I think that was the drawback. And we're still together now, so but yeah, so at the age of 29, was in a job that I hated, working in insurance. I think I was in that job for about 3, maybe 4 years. And it was pretty soul damaging, to be honest. It was impacting life, and especially home and the relationship. Coming back home just drained and just real negative and kind of depressed about the actual job. I just, wasn't enjoying it, and I needed to get out. So the missus said, well, we need to change this. What do you want to do? And I said, well, what I want to do is I have to go to uni for me to do what I want to do. And so she was like, well, let's do that. So honestly, no shit, within 3 months, I was resigning. We'd packed up our place, put all our stuff in storage, and we moved in with my brother for that 3 months, just to save a bit more cash for me to come to uni and stuff. And then lived with my brother for 3 months. And then next minute, we were moving down to Hamilton, which is about an hour and a half south of Auckland, because I've got a university there. And then next minute, we moved down just within 3 months. And at that time, we had a 2-year-old, so we'd organised we had one weekend. So we came down. We moved down in March. We came down one long weekend in February, and to sort a house, to sort daycare, to sort the missus' job transfer, and she left a permanent job in Whangarei to come down to a temporary job. Luckily, they were able to transfer, but it wasn't a permanent position.
Yeah.
So, there was all that risk involved and the cost of moving cities and towns and whatnot. And then me going from 2 incomes to 1 income, going to uni. That was a huge, huge change. I don't think we quite anticipated the struggles that would follow, especially for the first probably half a year. But hey, we did it. And ended up studying for what was only meant to be 3-year degree. So I ended up doing a Bachelor of Communication Studies and then specializing in health communication.
Okay.
And then we were kind of meant to move back to, the plan was to move back to Whangarei, but that didn't happen. Ended up in a scholarship to stay on and do my master's at the university. So did that. Totally loved it. Loved that journey. Totally loved it. I'll do it again if I could. Then that took about 2 years, and then ended up getting another scholarship to stay on and do my PhD.
Unreal.
I was like, holy shit. I didn't take that decision lightly. I took a good 2 weeks to give these lecturers and professors an answer. Oh, wow, okay. It really took me 2 weeks to talk with the missus, talk with my dad, talk with my brother and sister. And in the end, it was like, this is an opportunity that's come to me.
Yeah.
Don't be scared, take it, because you might not get this opportunity again. So kind of on that, I thought, okay, cool. But the deal was when I presented this idea of me doing a PhD to the missus, she was like, okay, well, if you do that, then we have to have another baby. I was like, okay.
That's unreal. That's a great deal.
I thought, okay. But so yeah, I agreed. But unfortunately that didn't quite happen. And she had a lot of medical things going on with her. And anyway, kind of missed the boat on that. So I was secretly happy. I was like, oh well, it is what it is. But,
yeah.
And so to this day, I'm still at the university, but also working there as well.
Awesome.
Still trying to leave, bro. I've been at the university for over 10 years now, and as a student and working there as well. But still there.
You must get like they must just, some of the young people that come in must just think you're a professor or something. Okay, it's just like they see this fellow all the time.
Oh, I don't dress like no. I just go in my shorts and t-shirt, sandals or chucks, and I only dress up if I have to.
Do you know what's funny? My family's from Whangarei, my old man's family. So my grandparents still live there. My old man lives up Kakoi way. He's a dairy farmer up there. My grandparents got a batch just out of Whangarei. Oh no, so my old man lives in Kaio at the moment, up the Bay of Islands. My uncle's moved down to Auckland, but yeah, bro, I love Whangarei. It's beautiful.
Okay, so got some connections to the north, eh?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, big time. Whenever I go home, that's the buzz, bro. Big time. Cool. Especially just the outdoors. My family's big on it, so a lot to do out there. Hey, that's cool.
Beaches up there.
Oh, bro, just whole other world, man. Like we look at a lot of beaches here in Sydney, but I think just the Kiwi summer, bro, lush.
Yeah. That's one thing I miss about being up north is the beaches. Since living down here in Hamilton, it's landlocked. So, but we're not far from the beaches, but all our beaching is always done back up north. So.
Hard, bro, and it's so close up there. Like Hamilton,
you just can't beat them.
Nah, not at all, bro. It's with oh, that's so cool about your journey with the study, bro. I'm so clear that like a lot of people kind of work jobs that they don't really like. And I'm also scared to take that plunge, man. And for you to do that, and within 3 months, obviously having an amazing partner who's keen to, it was just like back you, like let's go. And then to see where you are now, it's pretty impressive, man. I'm happy for
Yeah,
you.
well, yeah, it was a big jump, and yeah, kind of scary in that first 6 months. But once we found our groove and I got into it, and then started to make some friends.
Yeah,
Here I
bro.
was this nearly 30-year-old with friends who were like 18, 19, 25. Age didn't matter, and I made some really good, solid friendships from that first year of uni. I'm still in contact and really good mates with a lot of these people today. So
Oh, really?
yeah,
See, that's massive,
yeah,
bro.
yeah.
Because you guys are all
Even
like
though
nearly
we've got
there, I
like
guess.
a 10-year difference, no, we're like this, so it's good.
Oh, right. What's the shoes like? I remember moving to Sydney and like it was a new experience. It was really cool. Had like a great job, lived by the beach, had an amazing partner, had a little group of friends, bro. And I think just the change for me was massive. Like that was when I first like kind of studying depressed, and that's when BOYSIE started because I had this amazing life, but I felt terrible,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to do anything. So for you to make that change, and then within 6 months or so to be able to, move ahead, yeah, pretty cool, bro. Cool to hear.
During my first semester in 2012, I was like, I actually got a little bit depressed because, it was just all new to me. I was this 29-year-old with amongst, majority being just fresh school leavers.
Yeah.
That first semester was quite hard, just because I was used to, having lots of people and friends and mates around me and doing lots of social things, and coming to this university not knowing anyone. That was, for me, that was quite a big thing, that I came so close to quitting just because of that. The university work, surprisingly, it was okay. I was all good with it, but it was the social side that really knocked me back, and made me even think, like, I don't think I can do this. I just wanted to quit and go back up north. But anyway, pulled through, and
Yeah.
like I said to you, I just put myself out there, made some really, really good mates, and like I said, still friends with all of them today. So yeah.
which is which is which is actually pretty cool. Like, I guess I relate to that as well. Like I've obviously got my mates I went to school with back home that have moved over here, and you kind of rely on the Kiwis. But when you do put yourself out there and kind of show who you really are, and you meet these people, and then those friendships are just the best, I reckon, because they pull different sides out of you, I guess.
Yeah.
Awesome, bro. That's
And they made me feel young again now.
that energy, yeah, bro. Give me some of that. Awesome, man. And so it's been however long now. You're still studying. How do you find that now from where you started to where you now? Is it just more of a deeper love for what you're studying now, or?
So I was meant to finish my PhD last year, but had a few mishaps and hurdles and humps and whatever the hell you want to call them, that kind of just disrupted that. So last year I went to a wedding with some really good mates who I became friends with in my first year at uni. And so they got married last year, and went to the wedding. Awesome day. They even asked me to do a speech, which was cool. And then we were meant to come back to Hamilton because the wedding was in Rotorua. Meant to come back to Hamilton the next day, but we ended up going to the bride's parents' house for a big lunch, and then someone handed me a beer, and then we didn't end up going home. Mrs. was on the phone trying to organise, the extension of our babysitter, just because of that one beer. But anyway, that night, apparently, I had we were on the dance floor or something, and I tripped over or something and fell back and hit the back of my head on the corner of an aluminium outdoor chair. Apparently there was a party stopper. I was on the floor for maybe about 10 seconds, just still. But then apparently I got up and just carried on like I was my normal, drunk, happy self. And then no one thought anything of it. So I woke up the next morning with the meanest headache. Holy heck. And I just thought, I must have had a few too many or whatever. And because we were, I was just like, whoa, this is really, really bad. But anyway, took some Panadol, didn't work. Helped cleaned up. And then we hopped in the car and drove back. Got back that day, and I really wanted to cook a pork roast. So we went out, did some shopping, made a nice pork roast. I wanted a Feijoa crumble, so made that for dinner. Struggled through it, but I was like, no, this is what I really want for dinner. And then that night I just couldn't sleep. Head was just pounding, and I just thought, okay, this must be just a hangover. Come Monday, went to work, struggled that whole day, still had a headache. I was like, holy heck, and it was just worse. Didn't sleep at all Sunday night. Got home Monday night, again, didn't sleep. I just thought, oh, this must be just a second day hangover. Anyway, got to work Tuesday, woke up, well, didn't sleep the Monday night, went to work on Tuesday, and I just couldn't function. My boss was trying to have a meeting with the boss, and it's like she was having to really get out of me what she wanted me to say, and I just couldn't get out what I just couldn't comprehend, couldn't articulate. Yeah, it was just really tough, and at the same time the head was pounding. So I ended up going home a bit early that day. Came home and said to Mrs. Man, my headache is just still going. And also that day I had like these little intermittent, like localized pain just in this part of my head.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on here? Anyway, I ended up coming home, shut my blinds, hopped on my bed, went to sleep for a bit. Got up, still headachy. Said, go and have a shower. So I had a shower, almost got dizzy. I got dizzy, almost tripped over in the shower. Went out to the couch, and she must end up ringing. Got a thing here called Healthline.
Yeah.
So she ended up ringing Healthline. And this was on the Tuesday night. And she, the nurse on the telephone said, oh, because the nurses kind of explained to her what was going on. And, we were just thinking it was a long hangover. But then the nurse prompted my missus and said, has he hit his head? And that's when she went, oh, actually, he did hit his head. And I was like, hey, what? Everyone had just forgotten about that I'd had this fall. Anyway, so the nurse said, just monitor him tonight and see how he goes. And if things get worse or don't improve, then get him checked out. So we ended up staying home. Well, yeah, at that point I just couldn't move, had no energy, I was too sore, and just everything was spinning. We stayed home, didn't sleep really well that night, but by 5 o'clock we were on our way to A&E. And get to the A&E. This was not at the hospital though. This was just one of those 24-hour emergency A&E kind of outfits.
Yeah, right.
And so from there, this doctor did all the testing, assessment, or whatever. Pretty much said, you seem to have quite a concussion going on here. And so she said, I'll refer you to the hospital. So I ended up going to the ED at the hospital. And sure enough, basically they just said, you've got quite a concussion going on. Kept me in for a while, didn't stay the night. They hummed and hawed about doing an MRI or a scan of some sort, but then they decided not to. And so that was on the Wednesday. And so with that concussion, I had dizziness, I had double blurred vision, headaches, constant headaches, 24/7, couldn't concentrate. I couldn't even walk a kilometer. And with that, I couldn't drive for like 8 months, I think. So just because of my vision and then the dizziness. Everything, just any stimulation, man, it just knocked me. Like, for example, we have a night market here on Friday, all sorts of stalls of food and stuff. And I was like, I'm going to this night market and I really want to participate. Anyway, we went there and holy heck, it knocked me, like all the smells and the different people, the lights. But I was out for maybe 3 or 4 days after that, like just physically, I was just bedbound, really.
Wow.
And so I ended up having 2 months off work and then gradually went back to work. I was gradually trying to build going back to work full time for about a month, but then my recovery went backwards. So after about a month, ended up taking work off again and having another month off work. But at that point too, we have a thing here called ACC, accident compensation, whatever. So basically, they're, I guess, an outfit that. How do you explain ACC, bro? Do you know?
Yeah, like it's just kind of like
if you have an injury or
support,
something, you can get compensation from this outfit called ACC. So if you have to have time off because of an injury, ACC pay you 80% of your wages, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So anyway, the case manager from ACC ordered me to have an urgent MRI. So I went in and had an MRI within like 2 days of being told we need to get you in and scan you out. So initially they were just going to scan my brain, but ended up scanning my whole entire spine. And so when I went to the MRI, they said, it's just going to take about 45 minutes. We'll do what we need to do and then you can go off. Ended up being in that MRI for 2 hours, nonstop. I was like, holy heck. So, after about 30, 40 minutes, they were like, sorry, Mr. Shelford, we're just going to, just another 10 minutes or so. We're just on the phone to a doctor, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Anyway, then after 10 or 15 minutes, then over the intercom, there was another, okay, so going to be another 10, 20 minutes or so, and we're just going to send someone in to come and inject you with some like radiation or fuel, some dye or radiation.
So it comes up when you're in the scan?
Yeah. So the dye they inject, they're able to like go scan whatever it is that they're looking at a closer level and a more clearer level. Anyway, 2 hours later, I was sitting up out of that MRI machine, like just whoa. And then that week got called by a neurologist to come and see him. And it's probably one of the best health interactions I've ever had, to be honest, because this neurologist just took me on this whole massive, like his approach to getting to the findings from the MRI was kind of like a story approach. And he just, I don't know, it was kind of like this. He just took me on this whole big journey about my life from when I was born. It was crazy, but it was really, really cool. And then he brought in the images and said, okay, now let's go on and talk about what we found here. So he said, concussion head injury wise, you're fine. But there were two things that the MRI showed or presented, and the first thing was, now I can't remember the name of them, but they discovered that I had two like little blood spots in my left frontal lobe, so just somewhere in there. So I don't know, they're probably that kind of, one was bigger than the other, but he said these are kind of like little hemorrhages that have happened, and they've caused some bruising around the outside of them. And he said, we're not too worried about those, but we will need to monitor them. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, they terrify me because anything blood in the brain, it's
bro.
I've got family members who have died of aneurysms and all those kinds of things, and so for me that was like freaked me out. But he was like, "No, just don't worry about them. You should be fine." But as I said, we'll just need to monitor them. But the second thing that was found, this is the thing that we kind of got to look at, and so they discovered I had a cyst inside my spinal cord. So I went from the C section, so the top of my neck, down to my belt line. So and he said it was like a fluid like this. So basically what happens is the brain releases fluid to come to releases the fluid to come down and surround the spinal cord. So it's kind of like to protect the spinal cord. So there's this fluid, I can't remember what it's called. But he said what has happened is that fluid was actually going inside my spinal cord. And so he said, don't know how long it's been there, don't know how even it got there, but by the looks of it, because it was quite huge, he said this is bloody huge, basically. He said it was massive. He said you could have been born with this, or you've just had it for a very, very, very long time. It's just built up and up and up. But so the fluid that's meant to protect my spinal cord was actually seeping into my spinal cord, and over however long has built this huge fluid-like cyst. And prior to that, I had been having some like kind of nerve issues in my arms, like little sharp nerve pains, and then tingling, but I didn't think anything of it.
Okay.
But yeah, fast forward a few months. So this was in July last year. Fast forward 2 months or so, the things in my hand, like my upper extremities, were worsening to the point where I'd pick things up and drop them, just because of sharp pain, or like just get the sudden, oh, I can't lift it, yeah. And then the tingling and the pins and needles were like actual, you could actually, it felt like real needles were being stabbed into my palms of my hand.
Man, yeah.
And I was like, oh wow, this is out of it. So anyway, come December, I'd been referred on to the hospital, and got a call from the surgeon, and said, we'd like you to come in, from the neurosurgeons at the hospital, and said, we'd like you to come in and just discuss this with me. So okay. So I went in December, just before Christmas last year. Had that kind of conversation. December, just before Christmas last year. Had that kind of conversation with the surgeons, and they basically said, these are kind of your options. If you don't have the surgery, the cyst could more than likely keep growing, because what was happening was the cyst was compressing or pressing on the nerve fibers.
Yeah.
Hence why I was having those issues in my upper extremities. He said, if we don't do the surgery, you could get permanent nerve damage. He also said you could eventually become paralyzed, and then the last thing he said was you could lose bowel and bladder control. And that was like, okay, well, no, we won't. We'll do the surgery.
Yeah, bro, for sure.
I'm not in, yeah, I was like, no, I'm not having that. I'm too young for that kind of shit.
Yeah, bro.
So yeah, and then he said, with the surgery, we'll have to like kind of decompress the cyst and then implant a shunt. So it's like a rubber tube that redirects the incoming fluid back up to the brain.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay. And then he went over the risk, with any surgery, there's always a risk, but with brain and spinal surgery, because they're such delicate organs, and even the surgeries are quite delicate. I guess he was pretty much saying there's heaps that could go wrong with the surgery. And basically he said the most extreme thing that could happen from the surgery is that you come out paralyzed. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Well, I said, I'd rather have the surgery than lose my bowel and bladder control. So yeah, that didn't take me long to decide. So I said, yeah, I'll have the surgery. But then I thought about it, and I was like, actually, it's like, I'm damned if I don't have the surgery, but then could be damned if I don't, have the surgery.
That's right.
But it's that whole bowel and bladder control thing that got me, and I was like, yeah, no, okay, I want the surgery. Yeah. After that, hui with the neurosurgeons in December. Get a call after New Year's to say that they've booked me in for surgery. So I went in for surgery on the 18th of January. Yep, had the surgery. Apparently it was a great success. Everything was all good. Got back to the neurosurgical ward after being in recovery for a bit, to find that I had absolutely no feeling or power in my left leg, from my hip down to my toes. And I think that was the case for about 2 days while I was in hospital. I was in the hospital for 5 nights, but 2 of those days, I just had no feeling or power in my legs. And all I remember the surgeon saying in those early days was that this should heal. But there was, when I reflect back now, there was no conversation or communication around how or why my leg was this way after the surgery. Because before surgery, I had nothing wrong with my legs. It was all, the issues were up here. Anyway, a month later, I've realized that, what I went in for surgery was fixed, but now I've come out with this issue. Anyway, so hospital for 5 months. Came back home with limited power. So by then I was able to kind of wriggle my toes, couldn't lift my leg at all, but I had movement. And then I had kind of I had feeling back, but the sensation of it was like if you touched it and whatever. Yeah, I can't even explain it, bro, but it was just, yeah, out the gate, uncomfortable, ticklish. Yeah, just, I can't even explain
Yeah. Okay.
the feeling of it, but I just want to say I had impaired sensation basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that day I got home, went to the couch, sat in the couch. Because since being in the hospital, I hadn't actually sat in the chair. I was in the hospital bed the whole time. So I came home and thought I'd try and sit in like an armchair. Then I noticed that the circulation in my foot was, not looking good. My leg was cold. My whole leg was purple up to just above my knee. Purple, blue, all that kind of stuff, and it was swollen. I mean, my foot was swollen anyway before, after the surgery and before leaving the hospital. But I noticed that it was even more swollen. I was like, oh, this is weird. Anyway, yeah, the leg it looked pretty much dead. It even felt dead because it was cold as fuck.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, this is out the gate. But anyway, so I just thought, oh, I'll just go back to my room. I'll put my bed up and kind of elevate it. And then it kind of, went away and went back to looking more like a normal leg. Still swollen, but look kind of normal in color. And then the next day came around, I was like, wow, this like, because what I noticed was as soon as my foot hit the ground, when I got off my bed, it'll just pretty much instantly change color, and swell and just go cold to the touch. And when I felt, if I was on it too long or sitting in a normal chair too long, it started to like ache.
Okay.
And then so I was like, oh, okay. So with that, I just pretty much stayed in my bed and just kept my foot up because that was the only thing that was kind of alleviated the circulation issues. But then they ended up going back to the hospital. So I got home on Saturday, ended up going back to ED on Sunday night, just because that circulation, because I didn't know that it was an issue during the hospital stay until I got home. And so we went to ED again, and the nurse at the check-in station, whatever you call it, I went up to her and I explained that just got released, discharged from hospital for spinal surgery yesterday, but I've got these issues going on. And I said, power sensation, yeah, I'm all good with that because the surgeons kind of spoke about that before I left. But I explained to her, like, I've got this really bad circulation problem right now, but I don't know what that's all about.
Totally.
So she called through the neurosurgical ward and spoke to some of the surgeons there. And at first they didn't want to come down and see me. They just anyway. This nurse batted for me, and half an hour later of her trying to get them to come down and see me. The surgeon came down. It was actually the surgeon that discharged me, came down and basically said, well, we've kind of spoken about this. We're going to go through all this. But I said, but we didn't talk about the circulation. Like, what's up about that? And he just really didn't talk to the circulation at all, other than, you've just come out of the surgery, you've just got home, you just kind of have to let it run its course, basically.
Okay.
But he said, if you want, we've got a spare bed up in the ward, you can stay and we can start you with physio tomorrow. I was like, nah, I want to go home. Wasn't prepared to stay the night. So anyway, just went home. And then, I noticed that after being home for about 3 days, like the circulation, as soon as my foot hit the ground, blood pouring down, cold, it was fucked. So I was like, okay, well, maybe I need to go back to the GP because this is clearly not right. So I went to my GP. So within 2 weeks of being home, I went to my GP about 4 times about this issue.
Just
and why I was going back to him was because he was my link to the surgeons. So it was him that, there's no point me trying to get a hold of the surgeons. I guess he was able to connect with the surgeons and yeah, so we did lots of toing, well, he did lots of toing and throwing with the surgeons to finally get some, not answers, but some information about why or how my leg is the way it was. And basically, he said that the surgeons told him that what could have happened was when they implanted the shunt into my spinal cord, they did say it was a really tight squeeze, but trying to get it in there. So I guess they pretty much had to kind of force the shunt or the rubber tube inside my spinal cord. And they said during that it could have bruised some of the nerves in my spinal cord, which affects the leg. So I was like, oh, okay. And I said to my GP, okay, cool, but that's not a given. That's not a definite. They just said it was merely just a possibility that that's what could have happened. Yeah. And they just kind of, it was just kind of, we'll just say this for now and then, just leave it at that. Yeah. But I said to my GP, but my issue and my main concern right now is the circulation in my leg. Like, it's not improving. And then by that 2 weeks, I had like some improvement in my power and improvement in my sensation. So, those things improve little, but they improve.
Yeah.
But the circulation, did not improve at all. And so I was like, okay, well, whatever. So we ended up submitting an ACC form. So here I go again, back on ACC. Well, applying to go back on ACC. So my doctor and I sat there, filled out the form and submitted the application to go through ACC. So after the surgery, I had 2 months off work. And
that's right.
And then I came back, but that was just to recover from the actual surgery.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So I had 2 months, and then when my 2 months was up, my medical cert was run out. ACC still hadn't kicked in by then. So I was like, oh, this is weird. But anyway, so I was like, okay, well, I have to go back to work because I've already had 2 months off. The med cert's run out.
Yeah.
But this was in March, and by then I still had the issues with my leg. Limited power, impaired sensation, and poor circulation.
Yeah.
And at that point, as I said, the power and sensation had improved, but the circulation was major. Like, it's still major today. But I went back to work, and I just had a good chat with my bosses, and I said, okay, I can come back to work, but I really can only just work from home. So this is my bedroom right now. I'm on my bed. I went and bought me a little laptop desk to work from home. Put that on, got me a wireless keyboard and stuff. And it's not ideal, but it was the only way that I could do it. But yeah, it's been a struggle going back to work. But I'm having to go back to it. I'm just really grateful that the uni have been really supportive and understanding in my situation. So, I'm really lucky that I can just do the mahi within the capacity I can.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So, if I can't do a full day, then I can't do a full day. But yeah, so I'm really lucky in that sense. Then I try and go to the office just to change it up and stuff because I can drive now.
Oh, wow.
But with an automatic, I don't have to use the left leg. So we're good there. And the doctors have cleared me for driving. So that was...
It's huge, man.
I was like, oh, yeah, allows me to be a little bit independent, I guess, to roam and stuff. So, I'm able to go into the office now and then, and I just sit my leg up on a chair. And I mean, again, that's not ideal. But my life's become pretty much sedentary since the surgery. And now we're almost 6 months since the surgery. And one, I still haven't heard from ACC. Well, sorry, I've heard from ACC, but that was just through me following them up. Yeah. So I followed them up twice. And then last week I followed them up and said, it's been 4 weeks since I last heard from you. I was told I was going to be contacted by someone 2 weeks. Anyway, finally met my case manager from ACC, and she said, okay, we've got your application. We're now just going to, she said, I will be requesting your medical records and images in the next few weeks. I was like, what? This was last week.
Yeah.
We
So
submitted the ACC form in January. I'm like, what? You're kidding me. You've had my application all this time and you haven't even got the record, like my medical records. But anyway, so I just said, okay, well, whatever. And then she said to me, but by law, we'll have an answer for you by the 1st of August. I was like, what? The 1st of August?
what? Wow.
And basically, I've been put through ACC as a high priority. But what I've learned is that because of the type of injury it is, so it's under a treatment injury claim. So basically, I went in for some medical treatment and come out with an injury because of that treatment. So they
I see.
kind of process those, with a lot more dotting of I's and crossing T's and stuff because they're quite complex. And they have to bring in specialist people and all that kind of stuff. So it takes a few months. So I was like, okay, cool. And plus with spinal injuries, I've learned that they can be quite costly kind of compensation scenarios. So they've got to really, they take their time basically with these types of injuries. So I was like, okay, cool, I'll accept that. But meanwhile, I'm still having to go to work. I'm still paying for my own treatment because with ACC, you can also get funded / subsidized, recovery or treatment to go to physios and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
So at the moment, So at the moment, I'm paying all that myself. So I go to physio every week and have done so since I left the hospital. And I've just gone private for that. But yeah, also in March, I had a 2-month follow-up with the surgeons. So we went in there, they did the strength and sensation test with my leg, then brought up my images because before going to see them, I had to have another MRI just to see where shit's at. Went in there and they basically said to me, okay, these are your images. From a surgical perspective, your surgery was a great success. They said the cyst in your spinal cord significantly decompressed. It's not totally gone, and it's probably always going to be there. But the thing is, it's gone from this to this. And that the shunt that they implanted is where it should be. And I was like, yes, that, it was a great success because up here now is all good. I can pick things up without dropping it and without pain. But I said, now I've got this leg issue. And I said to them, I'm all good with the strength, with the limited power. I'm all good with the impaired sensation. But I said, my main concern and issue right now is the circulation. Because that day I didn't wear, that's another thing. I have to wear a compression sock every time I'm off my bed. Because that just helps me be up a bit longer. Yeah, I can probably manage an hour to an hour and a half with the compression sock off to be out and about. But that day I didn't wear the sock just so they could see how bad my leg got. And they basically turned to me and said, and this was the tone they used, just do weekly physio. I was like, what? Just that's it? Because meanwhile, the physios that I've been working with have been waiting for this follow-up appointment to hopefully get some kind of direction from the surgeons as to how to help inform how they treat and work with me. Because all the physios I've worked with, even the physios in the hospital, had never worked with someone like me before that
your position
had this issue. And with this spinal condition that I've had, a lot of them have had to do some research about it. I was like, oh, okay, so they're all calling me a bit of a complex case. But anyway, so I was like, okay, well, I said to the surgeon, can you kind of tell me then what kind of time frame we're looking at for recovery? And they both looked at each other, long pause, and they said, let's put 12 months on it. And they said, if your leg is still this way in 12 or after 12 months, then it's safe to say it's permanent. I was like, oh, okay, cool, great. Anyway, I just walked out of that follow-up. And they just said, we'll see you in a year. So I was like, okay, sweet, whatever. And so I thought, oh, well, maybe this is just it. I'll just accept it. And then went up to Auckland for a whānau get-together at my auntie's place. And so it's my dad's sister. She's a lawyer. And because I hadn't seen her well, I haven't seen him for a while because of COVID and stuff. But when I got out of the car and she saw me when we turned up to her house, she was just kind of, whoa, just taken back because I'm on crutches, you see. So I can't walk without crutches or whatever.
Oh, okay, true.
Yeah, so
Just full
still on
time,
crutches.
yeah.
It's been like nearly 6 months and I've not been able to walk on my own. But yeah, she was just really taken back by it all. But anyway, we did the whole whānau kais thing, whatever, heaps of other people there. And she said, come back tomorrow and let's have a talk and catch up and stuff with just you and my dad and Mrs. So we went back for lunch the next day and we were there for about a good half a day. And for a good 2 hours, her and my uncle just like, basically it was all about me. Yeah, but they were just really concerned. And anyway, during that corridor, there was lots of things highlighted, and that made me realize that I don't have to accept I don't have to accept the situation that I'm in. And from that, ended up going to organize like a second medical opinion.
Yeah.
So I did that, was meant to, so I went back to my GP. I said, I want a second medical opinion. Can we, based on advice from my auntie, she said it's best to try and find a neurosurgeon outside the Waikato region, because sometimes medical
Yeah,
stuff
know each other
and
and that
stuff.
linked, yeah.
Yeah, so she said, get someone outside the region. So I said to my GP, can we find someone outside Waikato region with a DHB who'd be willing to do a second opinion for me? So we found a guy. 2 months later, it was the week of, I got COVID. And so I couldn't go up to Auckland to meet him, but he ended up ringing me. And this was, it was like, I was still in isolation. So he said, we'll do a telephone, what do you call it? Telehealth consult or whatever.
Yeah.
But he rang me up only to say that he's not the bloody guy to help me. So I'm like, what the hell? Anyway, long story short, his specialty is structure and like the actual spine bone.
Okay.
Like not actual spinal cord nerve kind of stuff.
Okay.
But the positive from that was he's got a mate, a very good mate of his who me is his specialty, it's his expertise.
Cool.
And said he's probably one of the most experienced in the country with my spinal condition.
Wow.
So we wrote up a letter, sent it through to his mate, and they called me last week and they've requested all my medical images and records and stuff. And they said, we'll try and book you in by the end of June. So I was like, oh, okay, another wait, but I'm just glad that they're able to see me. And again, paying for this out of my own pocket.
Yep.
Because usually ACC would kind of cover this kind of stuff, but because I'll probably get the report from the second medical review before I hear anything back from ACC. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's just a waiting game. But for me or for us, once I see the specialist, I hope to get. I mean, if I don't get answers, I'm cool with that. But if I can get a bit more information, and more detail about what the hell's going on, then hopefully that'll help us kind of move forward and plan. Because at the moment everything's just up in the air. ACC is up. We're waiting on ACC, waiting on the medical stuff. And at the same time, just trying to manage life. We've got 2 boys. Mrs. works full time. It's kind of like at the moment we're just surviving rather than thriving.
I was thinking that word when you were speaking that too, bro.
So this whole situation's had quite a huge impact, bro.
I was going to say you're quite like I know what the word accepting isn't that well, especially since you're not supposed to accept. We use that you shouldn't accept what is happening, but you are quite. It seems that you are quite accepting. Is that true? Like when you hear each kind of knockback or each kind of decision, what's your kind of process you work through? Like, because there's a huge thing.
At first, I kind of
I
have those knockbacks. I have not a cry, but I have a bit of a sook about it and get angry and whatnot. but then, I just kind of, okay, sit there, have my little tantrum, and then just kind of process and think, okay, well, what the fuck? What am I going to do next? That's kind of my process.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess just having my time to actually think about it first, and then, clearly and calmly think what could we do now, and have discussions with people.
Yeah.
But I'm just lucky that I think actually not lucky. I'm quite privileged with all the friends and family that I have, and all the support that I have, but also the networks that I have. I've got all sorts of people connecting me to all sorts of other right people that are going to help me move forward, if you know what I mean. So
right.
I've got a network over here who's put me onto an ACC lawyer. Got someone over here who's put me onto this kind of counsellor fella who has been awesome. And then now I've got the support of my auntie guiding me through all this stuff. And she said to me, Pita, let's just work on getting all the medical shit gathered first. Let's get that kind of in place. And then from there, then we'll bring in all the legal stuff. So, I've kind of got this massive support, I don't know, armor or whatever the fuck you want to call it, behind me. Community, yeah. Even all my physios, they're just awesome. My physios, occupational therapists. I've got a rehab coach who kind of helps me with exercises to walk and all that kind of stuff. Everyone's just fucking awesome. But there's no way I could probably get through all of this without that. But of course, obviously, wifey as well. She's been fucking awesome. She's my cook. She's basically become my mother. I've become her dependent, as I just lead this sedentary life. She brings me my coffee, brings me my food every meal. And if I can, I'll go out to the dining table and have kai with the whānau. But usually, she's been awesome. Coming to all my appointments. And, very lucky.
That's huge, bro.
So but even though I've got all that, doesn't mean, I'm still, doesn't, like what am I trying to say? Like there's still huge, I guess, mental impacts that this has all had on me. Even though I've got all this great support, it still doesn't alleviate the mental battle that I have with myself. So yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, well, with that, you obviously you got a great community and stuff, not obviously, but that's awesome and amazing wife. When you do get down, like when you're tired and stuff, and nothing's kind of going your way, what helps you out, man? Like, what do you kind of look towards, or what's kind of like your escape to change your mindset? And it's hard at times like that.
But yeah, that is quite hard to answer.
What is something you do for you, bro? I guess what's something that you enjoy? I know you've spoken
something
about.
I do for me is, well, before all of this shit happened.
Yeah.
I love to cook. I love to grow food, all that kind of stuff. I couldn't grow a garden this last summer season because of everything.
Yeah.
And for me, I like to entertain and have making stuff around for feeds and drinkies and all that kind of stuff. So that's something I love to do and that I do for me and for other people as well. Haven't been able to do that. Also, I love to train. I love gym. I love boot camps. I love getting out there and working on my fitness.
Yeah, right.
And so for me, this year goal was, because I'm turning 40 this year.
Congratulations.
Goal for me was like, okay, I don't want to be fat in 40. I want to be fit in 40. But so I thought, okay, I'll recover from the surgery and then go hard again. Because last year I had to have a year off from the gym because of my head injury. I just couldn't, I wasn't able to go to the gym and work out 5-6 times a week like I used to. So yeah, I had to accept that. But I thought, okay, once I have the surgery, I'll be good to go. And then now I've got this fucking leg issue. That's just a no-goer at the moment. And I was like, man, I don't want to be fat and 40. Because, like I said to you it's a sedentary life. So, but I have kind of really had to watch my eating because I know I can't exercise much. So, I've been, it takes a lot to really do that. But when I get in my depressive states, if you like, then I just, it's kind of like I just give up and I just will grab some chips and eat a whole packet, not just the little packet of chips. I'll get the fucking big packet and eat the whole thing and binge watch a Netflix something, or eat a whole bar of chocolate. Not good, but
No, I'm
but
guilty.
that's what I used to do. But now that I'm my current state, I can't answer that. Right? I just at the moment I'm just trying to manage and figure out things with this disability, basically.
Yeah, bro.
For me, I'm not fully paralyzed, but yet I'm not fully bodily able. So I'm kind of like in this middle space, but also in a space where I know nothing.
Yeah.
So at the moment, there's nothing I do for me right now, other than just trying to focus on whatever's coming my way at any given time.
It seems, but like, I think you saying that you're privileged to have a good community around you, I think it just seems like the type of person you are, you don't really want to help someone that's addicted to you. So it seems that like, you like to have people around, you like to entertain, you like to go to the gym, you do boot camps, you like people. And it seems like because you've kind of been engaged, you put yourself out there and you've met this amazing people. And then it's just kind of rolled over into what's happened with your support now. So I think big congrats to you. Like, you're obviously a community man, like someone that people like to be around. They want to help out. You don't help out.
I just love socializing, bro. And and that's been a bit, I guess, limited since coming out of surgery. Like, for example, when I first came out, for the first 2-3 weeks when I got home from the hospital, we had dinner brought to us every night. It was either brought to us or someone came over and cooked us dinner for the house for like 3 solid weeks. So that was so cool, because usually it's me that's inviting people over and I'm cooking for people. So that was really awesome to see that all those who I cook for and come and invite over were actually cooking us a feed. And a lot of them though would come over, cook, or drop the car off and not stay. And so for me, I didn't like that. I would have preferred for them to to stay and just be around. And that's one thing my missus says to everyone, kind of asks, what can we do for you and all that kind of stuff. She just tells everyone, just come and hang with Pita, like lie on his bed with him and talk. And so, because that kind of helps me. You don't have to come and cook me a feed or whatever, but just turning up, lying on the bed with me, and we're just having like we are now, having a cordial. Like, that's huge. That's big medicine for me. But what I've noticed is that the last few months, that kind of hasn't been happening. It's like, I was just talking about it last night, because we're always having people over, right, and always having dinners and catch-ups and drinks and whatever, but that hasn't really been happening the last couple of months, and I don't know what it is. But maybe it's because I'm not in a position to cook and entertain, that people have kind of stopped coming to visit. I don't know. So it's just something that I've noticed, and I have had time to reflect on, and so that for me is something that's probably going to trigger me to go downhill, mentally.
It's I don't want to I don't know. Obviously, not your position, but I just reckon people just forget, bro. People just get caught up in their lives. People get busy. I don't think it's you. Like, I want to say, like, I don't know. I kind of get like that too, but I get down and feel those kind of buzzes, and I kind of get it. But then you got to reframe it and go, actually, they just need me to remind them, or they just need a reminder because people get busy. But that can be tough, bro, especially when you're getting down. I haven't seen you in a month. Is it because they don't want to come hang out with me because I can't cook them a feed? Bastards should be bringing me a feed over, but Okay, well, yeah. I guess it's a huge change in your life, man. Like I'm just trying to think, like it is a big change. Like trying to find things that you like that are a little bit more sedentary, socializing in a different way. Yeah, it's awesome, man. How you inspire me a lot because you're really calm and you can speak clearly about it and see it clearly. No, it's good. Like obviously, I don't see what goes on behind closed doors. Like obviously, your partner would see a lot more, like the tough times when you don't want to be around anyone. He's got the bag of chips in a dark room. But I think you're doing pretty well, man. And I like it how you're kind of pushing forward because, as they say, like the squeaky wheel gets the oil, and I think you kind of just pushing forward and you're asking for that second opinion and not settling. It's what's gonna get you through it. I think, man. It's awesome.
Makes
I love that
to ask questions. Challenge.
Yeah, bro, which is huge, and it's easy not to, especially as Kiwis, man. We're really polite, bro, and we don't really do that. So I like it, man. Well, stoked, man. Well, how's the study going? At least you can study.
The study's not going, bro.
It's not going?
It's on hold. Nah, it's been on hold since January last year.
Okay.
So, and it's probably going to be on hold until I know where my health is going. So yeah.
Okay.
So, that's not even really a thought at the moment.
Okay.
But I have kind of thought though that whether or not I quit work to just take a year off while I recover, but finish because I've only really got a year left on the PhD to do. But we'll just have to work out the finances and stuff and to be able to quit work and finish the PhD. So
you got to wait for some answers too, bro.
Yeah. One thing at a time.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
But I have to say though, during this whole process, like connecting with you on Instagram has been massive. And then when you sent me, these gears and stuff after my surgery, I was like, whoa, bro, you don't know, you have no idea how much of a positive impact that was. So I thank you for that, bro. Thank you for, connecting in and checking in all the time. That's cool.
It's good. I like it, bro, because I'm very much like you, like when I get down.
Bro, we haven't even met in real life.
Yeah.
So that's the crazy thing.
Which is crazy. It's amazing. I don't know, you just kind of get a vibe of people, man. You just know. So I don't know. I'm very similar to you. Social things for me recharge me.
That's it.
Recharge, man, and they help it out. And so I feel you in that, bro. And also the eating, man. I like to move my body so I can eat more. So because it's like a fall back on like you. So all these things. So you're doing really amazing, bro. I can respect that. Like
I've put on 10 kgs though since the op.
You did?
Yes.
Yeah. Bro, your face doesn't look. You don't look big at all, bro. You look sweet, Buzzy.
That's why you're only seeing this half.
I'm stoked for you to share your story, bro. It's
all good, bro. Thank you for this call. It's me.
No, I wanted to know, and you messaged through Instagram. It's kind of like you send a text and there's no emotion in the bro. You don't know how to read it. So I didn't want to ask. I didn't know how to ask for answers. I'd rather just chat to you and just find out your story. And you kind of told me. Thanks for chatting, bro. I really appreciate it.
All good, brother.
Can I ask one question before we wrap this up?
Yeah.
So your whole life. So it's a gratitude question. So I was gonna be like, if we look at gratitude like this, if everything in your life changes, what are the pieces that you've missed the most? And obviously your life has changed, which is huge. It's flipped on its head. Yep. So what are the things that you're grateful for that you have now, I guess, that with your life changing that you're able to hold into, I guess.
Sorry, say that again.
See, life has changed, man.
Yeah.
What are the things that you're grateful for that are getting you through, I guess?
Oh, right. Okay. The missus, but without her, this whole house would be a big fucking mess. I mean, she was meant to go to Aussie a couple of weeks ago to go and see her siblings, who she hasn't seen for over 3 years. And I said, go. You need this break as much as I do. you need a rest from me. But she decided kind of last minute and told her dad she's not coming because just, you know, she said to me, how are you going to handle everything? How are you going to handle homework, pick up school, work, plus your appointments and all that kind of stuff? I was like, oh, yeah, true. But, you know, we could find ways around it.
Yeah.
But, you know, she's just pretty much, it's just work, me, kids, work, me, kids. So that's been, having her has been huge, and I'm so grateful for that. But then also a couple really awesome whānau members and a huge friends network have really been what got me through, was, you know, getting me through now. And in addition to that too, the awesome recovery team that I have, not the surgeons, but my GP, my physios, my rehab coach, my occupational therapists that we're dealing with, that we work with at the moment, honestly have been exemplary. Like, they've just gone beyond my expectations of what their service is about. So yeah, I'm just very grateful for the awesome community that I have behind me. That's been huge.
Awesome.
But things that I miss is the cooking and training. Haven't cooked a meal since January. Haven't trained since December.
So when you do make your debut, it's going to be massive.
Yeah.
Wonder what was your specialty with cooking, may I ask?
Oh,
what would you go to?
I see, when I cook, I like to bring up recipes and just kind of take what I want from this recipe or that recipe, and I'm a creative cooker. I don't really follow recipes. I'll just take whatever tastes good, matches together, and just create something. But I would like to cook curries. I can cook a mean pork roast. Curry, yeah. I just hate baking, bro. When it comes to baking, you know, it's too restrictive. Too many instructions and measurements, and fuck that.
Yeah,
I just cook to taste. I just cook to taste.
I like that, actually. That's kind of saying it's the same with me. Must be like a BOYSIE thing, bro? Just like throw together.
I think it is, bro. Yeah. Just cook a massive feed. Yeah. Anyway, bro, I'll leave you with this, bro. Comeback is always greater than setback. Watch this space.
Bro, I'm stoked. I will be watching it, bro. Thank you for sharing what you did the other day. The comeback is always greater than the setback. And bro, I'll speak to you then. Have a great afternoon.
Hard.
You too, brother.
Okay. Thanks, man.